This is on the setup of the equipment. Basically set it up on level ground, and all the legs can be adjusted up 8 inches in 2-inch increments, and that's all the legs on all the equipment. Just a matter of removing the bolts and repositioning them. And there's 4 bolts on each leg on the tumbler, and there's 2 bolts on each leg on the discharge conveyor and the upfeed conveyor. And also all the feet have a 1/2-inch hole into them or 2 holes into them for mounting, if you were to be mounting it outside on a pier or a deck or something of that nature to where you didn't want it to move. Okay, and as far as setting up the equipment, you put it up everything as close as you can get it, and on the upfeed conveyor it's just a matter of lining up this chute so that when the oysters fall off the top of the conveyor they hit into this chute, and then also that this chute is able to still be removed without moving the upfeed conveyor. And it's not really an issue. It's not really an issue with the conveyor coming up on the side, but when the conveyor comes up in line with the tumbler, you just need to make sure that you're not so close that you can still pull this off of the pins to drop it down, and it'll still line up to where you can get it to fall into the chute. And that's the only thing you have to really be concerned about with the upfeed conveyor. And then the setup with the discharge conveyor up to the tumbler, the only thing you got to be concerned about is getting the conveyor belt underneath the edge of the lip of the tube, and still having enough room to where it's not contacting the belt guard, which it's made so that it can still be removed without moving the conveyor. It just slides straight out. So you just want to make sure that you don't have it to the point where it's hitting that, and just making sure that it's enough room there between it that it's not hitting it, and then just reinserting the pin. And that's the only thing you need to be concerned about on the discharge end. That would be the same if the discharge conveyor was in line with the tumbler or versus at a 90. Once the equipment is all positioned, it's just a matter of running the cables. And basically what we got it set up to do is to run the discharge conveyor up underneath of the tote frame, and basically strap it with the provided tie straps all along this whole frame on the back side so that it's not laying on the ground and getting hit. And then also taking them and coming over here on the frame and then strapping them to the upfeed conveyor here, and just strap them together. And then there's holes in the bottom edge of the control panel and the frame of the upfeed conveyor for strapping and plugging in the connectors. On the setup of the unit, basically after you've got all the equipment set up in line, you would bring all the cables to the main control box, which is mounted on the upfeed conveyor, and you would go ahead and plug them into their respective outlets. There's labels on the underside in front of the outlets for the upfeed, the tumbler, and the discharge. And basically the cables are going to come with dielectric grease inserted into the end of the plug, and with a plastic bag over top of it. So you would just go ahead and remove that plastic bag, take the plug with the screw pointing down, because that's the way they only go in one direction, and basically for the corresponding unit you would push it in to that connector, and you're going to see some of the grease, the dielectric grease, ooze out. Basically just push it in. You can wipe that out of the way, and then go ahead and push it and clip the connector around it. And then basically what we do, we supply the tie straps, and we always put a tie strap around that connector so that nobody can hit it and it can end up coming unplugged on you. Basically just over that little tab, just like that, and then trim it off, the tie strap. And when you get the unit, the upfeed's already going to be done, so all you have to do is do the tumbler and the discharge, and they're done the same way. The final setup would be plugging in the power cable from the control panel. It comes with a 25-foot 10-3 cable, and basically you just need a standard 120 volt 15 amp outlet to plug it into. And due to the nature of the drives that we use with for the variable speed and the control, they do tend to sometimes want to trip a GFI breaker, so you may have to not have it on a GFI. You may have to just have it on a standard outlet without a GFI. Basically when you go to plug in the control panel, you're going to see all 3 of the stop lights come on the control panel, and that's showing that you do have power to the unit. And basically it's just a matter of pushing the button to start each one. When you push the button, the red light goes out, the green light comes on, the conveyor is running, and then you control the speed with the dial. It's right directly below that, and this is for the in-feed conveyor. The tumbler would be here, and then we're running at 100% or 50% or 10%, what have you. Charge conveyor the same way. And basically the red safety cables on all 3 units are all tied together. So if you pull either one of the cables, all 3, whatever is running at the time will stop. And you'll get all the red lights back. There's no reset to hit or anything. It's just a matter of coming back over here and pushing the button for what you want to start. But that's mainly for safety, so that if you were to pull the cable on the discharge conveyor, it's going to stop everything, even the upfeed and the tumbler. And if there was ever an issue with something jamming up and overloading the motor and the drive's tripping out, basically whatever trips out, it's gonna trip the drive, and it's gonna physically turn on the green light even though the unit's not running. So when you look at this panel, you're gonna see a red light and a green light right over top of each other, and they're both lit. If you see that, that means that that unit has tripped out. In this case, it would be the tumbler. So then you would look and try to find out what jammed it or what hung it up. And then basically, to reset that, all you do is unplug your power, which cycles power, and the unit would shut off. Just wait 5 seconds, and then reconnect it, and the drive is reset, and you're ready to go again, provided you've cleared the jam.